Hello and welcome to the NS9 postgame show powered by Primanti Brothers. I'm Cody, that's Ryan. And if we were doing this on a Wednesday, we may have had a competitive game against Tariq Skubal, I should say. But we don't. This is on a Thursday, and the Pirates got dominated by the Tigers and lose 9-2. Ryan, how we feeling?
Jim sums it up right here. Thank God that game is over. That was a tough watch, Cody. And we were set to do the show yesterday. Today would have been Paul Skenes' day, which is coming up here in a little, maybe an hour and a half for game 2. But it was kind of stolen from us. And instead we get a 9-2 laugher. The Pirates just not being able to do much against Skubal and the Tigers. Tigers, man, they're good. And they showed it today against the Buccos.
Yeah, I don't know which I would have preferred. Would I have preferred Paul Skenes to lose in like a 2-0 ball game, or what we got today, or in the early afternoon here with a 9-2 blowout? I don't know which one I would have preferred to talk about, but we got to talk about this one.
Right.
Just like you summed it up, it was a stinker, man. Not much going on, hard to watch. I'm sitting here because of the delay. It starts with the delay, right?
Right.
And I don't even know if I'm going to do this post game, but since I am here, I got to do an ad read. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball season in full swing and we're deep into the NBA Finals, and BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. We keep the dog days of summer rolling with the largest selection of odds on everything, with updated odds on the MLB, UFC, and boxing to tennis and NFL futures. BetOnline remains the best online source for all of your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here. Ryan, where do you want to start?
We could start. Let's start in the first inning because I really thought that was the Pirates, chance against Skubal where they had a couple guys on. They had a chance to kind of get to them early. It was like the game started, like you mentioned, there was a rain delay. The game started and it's still raining. They're like, why did we start this again? It was clear they're going to play through the rain, but Skubal was not, I don't know, not himself or not completely on, especially in that first inning. And I thought the Pirates had a chance to kind of get to him early, and they didn't. And that was kind of Skubal settled in, and that was the end of that. But that first inning, Nick Gonzalez strikes out to lead off the game. McCutchen singles. He had 2 hits today. Joey Bart walks, which he was batting third. Welcome back. Canario walks. So Skubal just kind of erratic to start. And Greg Brown was like, this is incredible. I don't know what Skubal's doing. He just gets so dramatic. It's absurd. And it's like, I'll get dramatic when somebody clears the bases here with a double or something. But yeah, they got 2 guys on, 1 out, and Hayes comes up, strikeout, and Connor Falefa flies out. And that was pretty much the Pirates' threat this game.
Yeah, I was shocked. I mean, I tweeted, I was like, what is going on? It's a very out of context tweet, but I tweeted, what is going on? We had bases loaded against Tariq Skubal? Like, what's happening? And, I don't know what to chalk it up to. The fact that Brian Hayes has forgotten to hit in the last year, or lineup construction. People have been calling for IKF to be moved up in this lineup, and he has for the most part, right? He's not batting ninth anymore.
Right.
But yeah, what do you really chalk that up to? I mean, it's just a hard watch day in and day out, and especially whenever you go up against a guy like Tariq Skubal that's just nails, good to win the Cy Young, good to win it for years to come. These games just get harder and harder to watch.
Yeah, it was. It's just, look, Cruz is sitting. He's not in the lineup. Reynolds is off having a baby. Congrats. I haven't heard if the baby's here yet, but congrats to him. But he obviously wasn't in the lineup. Henry Davis wasn't playing. Bart was back. Pham was starting. I mean, it's just look, you can't lose, not to lose those guys, but like when you have Reynolds and Cruz out of the lineup with this team and this offense, it's going to be a tough watch. And then you have a Cy Young contender on the other side with a sub-2 ERA, who literally really wasn't on his best game at all. I mean, he was ticked at himself. Look, Skubal could win the Cy Young this year and probably will. He'll look back on this start and be like, "What did I do?" And I don't know if it was the rain, I don't know if it was the delayed start, but yeah, it was he wasn't his best, and I think it was the first game he threw over 100 pitches. Didn't even get out of
Yeah.
the um,
Yeah. I think they
but
said it
yeah,
was his second time this season going over 100. He barely ever hits that number, is what they were
yeah,
trying to say, I think, on the broadcast.
yeah, and he typically goes deep into games. So
Yeah.
yeah, even on a day where he wasn't, fully himself, the Pirates couldn't really do much on him. And hey, they scratched a couple runs across. But yeah, we'll talk about Andrew Heaney, who
Yeah.
he's his trade value is sort of plummeting.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, if you're gonna have a slump start, do it against the Pirates, because the team can't hit. Nothing's working hitting wise. Don't know what else to blame. I really don't want to blame Matt Haig at this point because he's first year in. We're barely halfway through the season. I don't want to be like, get Matt Haig out of here, because who knows? Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's these guys' development. Maybe it's the people they're listening to outside of the organization. Maybe it's just they're in their heads because they expected to be better. They were fed propaganda that they were going to be a better team, and they're not, and they don't know how to act, I guess.
Maybe it's Ben Sherrington who constructed this offense in year 6,
The
and
guy who convinced them all that they're going to be great this year.
yep. But this was, I mean, look, Tigers and Pirates. This was basically, it's a tale of two rebuilds, Cody.
Yeah.
You have the Tigers, who I think everybody would, as a Pirate fan, hoped this would be the rebuild the Pirates were having. Meanwhile, we're in year 6, stuck in the mud, 18 games under 500 now, and the Tigers are 21 games over in first place, cruising. I think they're like 8 or 9 up in their division, just absolutely cruising. They have the pitching, they have an ace, they have really good hitting. I mean, everybody in their lineup hits home runs. They're over 100 OPS plus. It's just the tale of two rebuilds. It's really what I wish the Pirates were, but instead it's a big difference. It's a contrast.
Right. I mean, I don't want to get too far out of like off base on what we're supposed to be talking about here, but something I wondered it during this game was like, okay, when we're evaluating talent, whether it's through the draft, whether it's through free agency, through in-season scouting, what is this team looking into? What are their main things that they're like, okay, this guy needs to be able to do this? And something I kind of caught on to is as to why Tommy Pham might still be on this team. It's because he still hits the ball hard. And it's like, if that's the only reason you're keeping a guy on this team is because he hits the ball hard, not that he gets hits, he just hits the ball hard. He hits league average exit velo, 89 miles per hour. He's a tick above that, barely a tick above that. Like, is that the reason this guy's still on this team? Because I'm lost for why Tommy Pham's still on this team. I mean, he looks lost in the outfield. Like Donardo said, you've had your 10 years. Congrats. You had a decent career. You'll go into the Hall of Pretty Good. Like, what else do you need to prove? You're already going to get paid if you get DFA'd. Like, I just don't understand. And I think it comes back to this front office just not wanting to be proven wrong. Like, they want to stick with what they think instead of pivoting to like be like, hey, this didn't work. Let's figure it out in real time. It just seems like every issue they wait an entire season to figure it out. And you can't operate that way if you're expecting to be competitive.
Yeah, Pham's OPS, by the way, is just under 500 now. He's below 500.
That's what I mean.
OPS.
Like,
It's
he
awful.
has no,
But I
he has
honestly,
no base stats that tell you he should be on this team.
no.
And all the underlying stats, like exit velo, which everybody loves nowadays, it's half decent. But that doesn't get you quality hits. Like, maybe if you find a gap, but he can't.
He's here. I mean, I honestly believe he's here because he's making $4 million. And like you said, they don't want to admit they're wrong. Look what they did with Rowdy last year. Rowdy had a horrendous first 2 months of the year. He did have a nice June, maybe July. Like he came out of it, but they waited. They wouldn't. He's going to turn around. He's going to turn around. You can't even say that with Pham. Like the guy's he's older. He's done. But
Right.
he's here because he's making money. And then look at last year. They waited until Rowdy was about to hit that incentive, and then they cut him on the last week. So like they just do think it's all money based. It is, and it's at this point it's a sunken cost. But I mean the Pirates they don't care about sunken costs. Hey, we're
Right.
paying him, so we're gonna keep him here.
And that's what I mean is like you already have to pay him. What's it matter if he's on your baseball team or not? Like he's just making your baseball team worse at this point. And you don't even have to spend necessarily more money. Just DFA him and bring up Nick York or keep Billy Cook up here. Like see what these guys that you traded for last year have. But I feel like we've deviated from the topic of discussion.
Well, so let's get back to the game,
Right.
shall we?
Yeah.
The great game that we just watched. The sixth inning, Pham comes up with an RBI opportunity. Skubal's like right at the end of his outing. It's like, are they going to get him out of there? Greg Brown goes, "Oh, Tommy Pham's coming up. He should be able to dent the ERA."
Yeah, I laughed.
What?
I audibly laughed when I heard that.
And he got an RBI sac fly. So hey, he drove in the second run of the game for the Pirates. So I guess he did give a dent to Skubal's ERA,
which was his least hardest hit ball of the game.
Of course.
The two previous were like
ERA
107 and I think 108.
His ERA now is 2.06. So again, just I may have had some money, Cody, on the under 1.5 runs for the Pirates. So I think Skubal had a terrible outing, in my opinion. I think he's going to win the Cy Young, and he's going to look back and still be upset about this start. Because how do you not get out of the sixth inning against the Buccos?
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Do we want to talk about, because there's not much to talk about other than Skubal's diced up the offense. Do you want to talk about Andrew Heaney today?
Yeah.
Because it was disappointing.
He as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, like his trade value is kind of plummeting. He had a 2.91 ERA a month ago, Cody. It's now at 3.94 in the last 5 starts, including today. He's had a 6.08 ERA. So, he was definitely one name that the Pirates were, you could pretty much count on them trying to trade at the deadline. But he's been pretty bad. And this game, I mean, the Tigers had guys on base. They had 2 in the first inning. They had bases loaded in the second, fourth, and fifth innings. They had 4 sacrifice flies. Like they scored 9 runs today. Heaney gave up 7. Heaney could have gave up 12 easily. They had bases loaded on him in 3 of the 5 innings he was in. I think the third inning was the only 1, 2, 3 inning the Tigers had, at least against Heaney. It was one of Heaney's worst starts. I think it honestly could have easily been worse. Like he did limit the damage, which is absurd when you say he gave up 7 runs. But he was walking guys. Like it was kind of the same with Skubal. Like Skubal wasn't sharp. Heaney walked 3. We haven't seen that too much from him this year. 8 hits. They were kind of, there was no home runs. They were kind of blooping them and bleeding them all over the place. But yeah, 4 sacrifice flies. I think the record in a game is 5. So we were close to that, but it could have been worse. Honestly, he could have given up 10 easily.
Yeah, Heendog lost a step, and I mean, who knows? Maybe it's the fact that they had to play a doubleheader. He was prepared to pitch last night and has to pitch today. Who knows what gets into a player's mental when they have to figure this out? But at the end of the day, Andrew Heaney's a veteran. He should be able to go out and do this. And it's not like this Tigers team isn't a bad offense, right? They're pretty damn good offense.
They're pretty good. Yeah.
They're pretty damn good. So like if he gave up 4 or 5 runs, I'd be like, all right, I get it. But to give up 7 the way he did, it was just like, and then The defense behind him wasn't great either. You had a misstep by Billy Cook, who was trying to make a hero play when he didn't have to.
Yep. That was on the Riley Green double that made it
Yeah.
5-0. Yep.
Yeah, you just can't have that. And I get what Billy Cook's trying to do, but at the same time, I think he's got to read the situation that, you don't want another run to score. And instead of 1 run scoring on that play, 2 runs scored on that play?
Yeah, I don't know if it was one of those like, hey, we're facing Skubal, like we need to keep more, as many runs off the board as we can, but it wasn't good. And yeah, Cook rate up. He had a hit today, a little bloop hit, but wasn't looking too good in the field there.
No, I wasn't happy with his performance, but he's probably only up here for another day or two. So
Right.
But it is a guy that we've kind of been, throughout the podcasting and like all of us talking. We want to see Billy Cook. We want to see what he can do. He just didn't show up for Heaney today defensively. Didn't use his head as much as you would hope. I just that was really a spot where I would, if I was an outfielder, that I'm not that I think better than a Major League Baseball player, but as a fan, I would think, oh, I want to prevent more runs from scoring. So I should just get in front of this ball that's going to take a dive on me and make sure only 1 run scores here. And that's not what happened. And it was to the detriment of Andrew Heaney and inevitably his trade value, like you said. Like, he just added more runs to his ERA.
Yep. Yeah, it was it just was bad all around, man. The offense, the defense, the pitching, it just wasn't good today for the Buccos. But yeah, Heaney only goes 4. You have a doubleheader today. Game 2 I think is starting at 6:10 tonight. So and we will have another post game after that show as well. So stay tuned. Hopefully, at least Skenes is pitching game 2, because it's like I don't know if I can go back and watch more of this offense. But hey, if Skenes is out there, at least it's entertaining for that period.
Sure.
But Sugart kind of took the one for the team today. He went 3 innings out of the pen. Like somebody kind of had to eat some innings. Hopefully, you won't need very much bullpen arms with Skenes going tonight. But at least Santana, Bednar, like your kind of 2 horses there in the back end of the bullpen are very rested. But Sugar came in. He gave up the only home run of the game today to McKinstry, and the Tigers scored 9 runs, 12 hits, but that was the solo home run was the only home run they had. Like Heaney was just getting hit all over the place. No home runs. But yeah, Sugar goes 3, gives up 2, and then Barucki finishes it out with a 8th inning scoreless frame at the end. So as far as who's available, I mean, Sugar probably definitely not available. He pitched the other game.
He had
as
50
well.
pitches.
But pretty much everybody else should be available. And like you said, hopefully Skenes just shoves and we won't need very many. But it was, I kind of wanted to mention this, and the fact that this game was a dud, I think we can talk about it. There was a lot of talk, throughout Pirates Twitter and even the national media. My Tiger friends were messaging me and why didn't you guys let Skenes pitch against Skubal? And it was a big topic. Now, does it matter to me? Not really. Would it have been fun to watch? Sure. Sure. It would have been fun to watch. I don't know. Everybody blames it on, I don't know. AJ Hinch came out and said, I asked Skubal, what game he wanted to pitch. He told me the early one, and I left it at that. So it kind of came out that, it was the Pirates' decision, and they wanted to split the doubleheader because, it's time to win now, Cody. We want to win. But I did want to talk about this. I did want to talk about this because, I mean, is that something to you as a fan that you care about? I mean, the season's lost, so I find it laughable that we're like trying to split a doubleheader. But
yeah,
what do you think about it?
As a fan, as a fan of baseball, sure, I'd love to see that matchup. That'd be insane. I think it's the two eventual Cy Young winners facing off in a game, phenomenal. I would love to see that. Now, if I'm thinking as a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, the reason they didn't do this because it wasn't in their ballpark. They don't care. They don't have tickets to sell in Detroit. So why screw up a good thing? Why give the people what they want? Why be competitive? You know? It's not going to make them
Yeah.
money. So why would they be competitive?
Yeah, that was something somebody I saw them say, like the two teams got together and decided for attendance if you split the two pitchers, and it's like, I mean, how
I
many
disagree.
how much walk up tickets are you getting on a Thursday night? You know what I mean. So like, I don't really believe that was the case there, but um, I mean, I get the just to, if you want to maximize your win potential, like, yeah, you probably want Skenes pitching against a lesser pitcher. But
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen the Pirates not hit for Skenes very many starts this season. So does it really matter? But I don't know. It doesn't matter to me, but I figured we'd talk about that because it was a big topic the last 24 hours.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think anybody in baseball, like I'm shocked, we didn't get a call from Manfred saying, "Hey, you guys got to do this."
Yep.
We
Well, if they were the
we got these
Dodgers, they
afternoon
would have.
games. We
Yeah.
need one worth watching. And like, not that it would have been worth watching, but just to get that, it all comes down to money, especially in baseball. And, you know, I don't think anybody in the Pirates organization had any sort of urgency to get that matchup to happen because it's not going to make them money. It's not in their ballpark. And B, they just don't want to be competitive and they won't even act like it. Like
Yeah,
sure, you said the
you can't even
competitive
fake it.
advantage. I know you said the competitive advantage of it. You want your best pitcher facing a lesser pitcher. I'm on the opposite side of that. I would want my best pitcher facing off against the other team's best pitcher. I feel like that gives you a more even playing field. Obviously,
Yeah,
going
and
against
look,
the
if
lesser
the
going
Pirates
against the
scored
lesser will give you a good chance of winning, but I would also like to make sure the other team can't score too. So,
right, and look, the Pirates scored 2 runs today off of Skubal, so
right.
Skenes gives up one, or they could have won the game 2-1, or who knows, but yeah, I just thought it was an interesting I just thought it was an interesting topic because and there was a lot of people talking about it over the last 24 hours. So with the rain out last night, and then there was a rain delay today, so it was just and then they played through the rain. So it's just
Yeah, it didn't make any
I'm over the
sense to
rain,
me.
Cody. I am over the rain. Like I know it's supposed to get real hot and humid over the weekend, but let's can we cut it back on the rain, please? Um, but yeah. I know you got a hard stop here coming up. So
Yeah, we got a
anything
little
else
bit
with
of
this
time.
game? But
With this game, man, it was just a tough watch. I think it was the
yep.
toughest afternoon with Cody and Ryan that we've had so far.
Yeah, this was afternoons with Ryan and Coney. We've seen better days.
Yeah.
We've seen better days and better games because this was a laugher.
I will say, Andrew McCutchen, being that he is the veteran of the team, the oldest man on the team in the lineup almost every day, he impresses the hell out of me every time he plays baseball. He came out swinging, he came out prepared. He started out 2 for 2 and I was like, Kutcher's gonna be the only guy to get a hit off this guy. I think he ends up with a strikeout and then maybe a ground out. I can't remember what else.
Yeah, I mean he had 2
But
hits. He had an
he had 2
RBI.
solid hits. Um, yeah, just
He's
impressed.
the second best hitter on the team, and I mean that's not a slight on Kutch. It shows
Yeah.
how good Kutch is at his age, but it's kind of a slight on the rest of the lineup and
Right.
what this team has put together. But yeah, and McCutchen's coming up. I think he's now a hit or two away from Joe DiMaggio on all-time hits. And I think 20 some more he'll pass Willie Stargell. So like Kutch is slowly moving up some rankings here. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it makes this team slightly enjoyable to watch. Everybody loves Kutch. He's like you say, he's like our generation's Willie Stargell or Roberto Clemente or
He
whoever
yeah.
you want to compare him to. you really just watch him to see how far he goes up those rankings. And I mean, he's not obviously, unless he plays another like 5 seasons, he's not getting past. I think it's Ralph Kiner on the list of home run hitters.
Right.
But it's still great to see him perform like this as a Pittsburgh Pirate, where a lot of people think this is where he should have been his whole career. And for him to come back and want to be here, he's grown his family here. This is home to him. I'm getting chills talking about it right now. It's the only thing about this team that gives me feeling is watching Andrew McCutchen and Paul Skenes play baseball.
You mentioned he's probably not going to play 5 more years. Kutch might be playing as long as he's performing, and he's performing. Like, you can't argue it. So he just keeps going out there, and it's the lifetime contract that Mike Tomlin apparently has. It's just every year we just bring Kutch back for a 1-year deal. But
don't get me started on the Steelers, Ryan.
I know, right? NS911 or NS11. NS9. It's 911. Call 911, Cody.
You said it. You said that.
But
I can't believe you said that. Okay,
we got.
I'm sorry.
We got to get
NS11.
Tough to say NS11. We got to get it. But hey, if Kutch is performing, they're going to keep bringing him back, and if he wants to play, which it appears he wants to. And you mentioned, he is the player of our generation. Even both of us, as old as I am, Cody. I mean, I could say Barry Bonds, but he just wasn't here that long. So
Ryan, you fought in Nam. Somehow, this guy is your generation's guy.
There we go. I think it's a good place to end it.
I do. I should have said this first, but I did want to mention Nick Gonzalez's double. It was a great hit. It was out in 5 of 30 ballparks. He's another guy. You got one of the young guys that I like watching Nick Gonzalez play baseball. I wish he could do it more consistently. He did just come back a couple weeks ago from that broken ankle, but he's a guy that's one of these young guys that I'm like, you give me hope.
There's not much in this lineup, and that he's one of them. And he's been not great. Like you said, he came back from the injury, and today was his first double of the season. So he's just kind of getting started. But hopefully we continue to see positive signs from him, Henry Davis, Spencer Horwitz. We'll see. But the rest is just it's brutal.
Yep, it was a rough one. Pirates lose in the first game of doubleheader to the Tigers, 9-2. Heaney gave up 7. Not a good game. So let's get out of here, Ryan. Folks, thank you for watching. If you want to support, Jim's stupid head is going to tell you this in about a second, but if you want to support, right here on YouTube, you can become a member for 99 cents. Gets you all the cool emojis in the chat. Didn't see many today. What's up with that, Ryan? Jim usually comes in with them, but you can get some cool emojis. You get a little badge that says you are a member, and for every month that you are a member, it changes colors. So that's pretty cool. Just a way to support us. And if you want to support us a little more, you can follow us on our Patreon and become a Patreon member for $4.99 a month. And that puts you into giveaways. Every month we give away some sort of merch or memorabilia that we find on Fanatics Fanatics. And we give away 2 standing room only tickets to a Pirate game. If you want to go, if you would rather suffer in person. So you could do that. We appreciate the support. You don't have to. We enjoy doing this no matter what. But if you'd like to support, we would appreciate it. And I think absolutely. That's it, Ryan.
That's absolutely. We'll be back after game 2. Hopefully Skenes gives us something better to talk about. And I think is it Tyler and Jim? Is that right?
Beats me.
Sure. We'll go with it. I know it's Tyler. I think it's Tyler and Jim.
All right. Probably. As long as it's not Doug. Jim, I want to put this out there. Jim hates Doug. Jim put Doug on so many post-game shows. Granted, Doug loves doing them, but
he was on call. Doug was on call for this one.
Doug was on call for this one.
Yep.
So
he's a good guy.
I almost put more work on Doug, but Jim works Doug like a mule. is all I got to say. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, Doug's a good egg.
All right, folks. We'll see you next time. See you later tonight. Have a good one.
Peace.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.